back again for another one.
You stuck with me again.
Yep. That's going to be the way of it now.
All right. So, this first one, the title is My Bad Tattoos, Laugh Out Loud. And it says, I thought you would enjoy roasting these bad tattoos, laugh out loud. The first one, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, I've already blacked out. And the second one, The Nun, my new artist is trying to save, but...
Oh, that's probably a mistake.
Our backup plan will be to black it out as well. The original artist obviously was not the right one for the job. Ha ha ha.
That can happen. Well, that looks fucking terrible. It's really, truly better off blacked out.
Yeah, it's a blur.
Yep. Yeah, even close up, it's hard to distinguish any of this.
I mean, I think by the time you try and rescue some of the detail in that face, it's going to be black anyways.
Well, this was the first one that is blacked out, right?
Okay.
I think this is what he was saying, that this one is already blacked out.
Well, good for you for blacking it out.
I just think it was the face is too small. Whenever I see a face that's this small, it always does this.
Right.
This comes from people wanting too much in a sleeve. They'll want like 9 things in a sleeve. And it's like, okay, you can have that, but none of it will be readable.
Yeah, and I mean, not everybody is good at making like a micro portrait read.
Yeah, well, if you're going to do it at all, you have to be very good at it, or else it just ends up being a blobfish.
Yeah, exactly.
This thing's hair is indiscernible. Like it just looks like almost like a furry, like a furry jacket or something.
It's pretty special.
So I mean, they got some decent texture in here in places, but it's just all so tonal that you can't pick anything apart. And why is one nipple so pronounced, but the other one is fading away?
No idea.
Different artists maybe, but I think it was too small to begin with. So thank God it's gone.
Too small for the limits on.
Yeah. And then this is not worth the try. Like, my goodness.
Yeah, I feel like this is another blackout.
That's beat.
It's just like the mouth looks like it's like forward, the nose looks like it's like back.
Oh man, this thing just looks miserable. It just wants a quick end. It's just begging for it. Please just end it.
Right? Yeah, their shading like totally screwed up the depth on all of those bits.
This was a better size, but now what they've done here, when it settles out, it's not going to be tonally that much different than the rest. I can already tell. And you're going to have to give the whole thing a facelift to match up with the new stuff. And even if you do do end up doing that, it's going to be, really hard to pick anything out because they went too dark with some of the shading. If they had gone really light, then they could have darkened up some areas and, brought in some contrast. But unfortunately, in this case, it's already too dark, and white ink's only going to do so much. I think just black it out and do a new one with white ink later.
I was going to say, like, honestly, if I was this person and if you find the right artist, you can do what Remy's been doing with his tattoos, black it out, give it some time, and then, find the right person, and you can get the same tattoo by a better artist, and they can use white on black to bring it out.
Oddly, it would probably be brighter than this one.
Yeah.
Just the most hilarious thing. They got the size right, I think. I don't know where this is. Is it on the side of his arm or his thigh or what?
I don't know. Is it like the back of the shoulder? Like, I can't really tell.
Yeah, this photo is kind of taken in the abyss.
Right.
It's really hard to tell where this was done. But, I mean, I see what it could have been, but it's not. It's a shame, but it's not.
Yeah, no, it looks like a screaming Mother Teresa with a broken nose. So we will move on to the next one. All right, so this one says, Hey, Remy, hope you're well. I'm Stefan, 37, from Manchester. It's
like the start of a dating app or something.
Right? We're courting you, Remy. I've attached, another Freudian slip, a CPL of photos, my current progress of my full arm sleeve. Hopefully it can make it onto the vid. Well, you did. If you deem it worthy, that is. Apparently you're worthy.
Well, everyone's worthy. There are no favorites. This is really nice. But it looks a little bit like Cosmo Kramer.
Right.
That's more what I see right away, but I'm just a Seinfeld guy, so yeah.
I have like no opinion. I don't like portraits, and I don't like color realism. So
Yeah, well, I mean, for color realism, this is pretty fucking great.
it's really good color realism. I don't know if this is this fresh. This looks fresh, right?
Yeah, I think it's fresh.
So
Yeah, you
it's
can tell
safe-
with the redness around it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's safe to assume that skin tone is gonna mellow because right now it's looking like Trump,
Yeah.
a little orange.
Those things you have to do in order for it to level out to the right point, right? It's the same thing as like when we did the red here. It was really bright. And it's like I had some people who were like, "Oh, that's like so super bright. It's stupid how bright that." It's like it's not gonna stay that way, asshole. You have to do things in extremes so that when they heal out, they're subtle. You know. So there's really intelligent tattooing happening here, and for people who don't like color realism, that's fine. But I've known a lot of tattoo artists that won't fuck with color realism because it's technically one of the hardest, most time-consuming things to do well, and it's just easier to do black and gray.
Right, and this is not only is it color realism, but this is actually a really sort of tricky perspective.
Yeah,
And there
the
are
fingers are fucking great.
I was gonna say there's pieces of it that I think are a little bit wonky. Like the nose is reading as a little bit off to me, and so is the perspective on the microphone. But I would have to probably see the reference to say that indefinitely.
Yeah, this is probably pretty like bang on, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, there's just something that's reading just slightly off about those two things for me, and it could be as much as like a shadow, or it could be the angle that I'm looking at it from as well. But
No.
it's a beautiful piece.
I think like my biggest issue with these pieces is like, unless you're going to go to this guy for every tattoo you have now, this is going to look too good on that arm. So like, and there aren't many great background options for this. You just kind of smoke around it and build into the next portrait. Because like anything else you do is going to look out of place. So
That's why I don't like portraits. And then it looks like his other one is this Kurt
Yep.
Cobain.
Yeah. So I mean, it does read as Kurt Cobain to me. So they passed the test on that. I like the incorporation actually of the Seattle. Yeah, Seattle grunge on the bottom. So that's I mean that does work, like thematically. So I guess they've figured out some ways to carry on the imagery at least. But
Yeah, this one looks good as like that sort of half sleevey arm thing going on too. Like it works like the size.
yeah, the size is right. I always think like the best sleeve you can have is like 3 or 4 images in background. Personally, if you're going for striking, if you get too bogged down in little details and things that don't matter, it's not going to be as striking from a distance. But that's another thing about color realism is it doesn't hold from a distance as well as black and gray because it's a little more congested. But
I
I
think
think this one will.
what this one really has going for it is like Kurt Cobain has like these amazingly blue eyes. And so like the artist has used all of these orange tones to like bring out the skin and
contrast it.
yeah, like the way those colors play off of each other, you're really like, oh man, first thing I see is those eyes.
Yeah, it's immediately the first thing that hits you is the eyes. So it's a nice trick. But
Yeah, really nice portrait. All right, so we have another email. Says greetings from Captain Pirate.
Crapton Pirate.
Crapton Pirate.
Close.
Nice name.
He doesn't take himself as seriously as
Right? So
not quite Captain.
Backup story to the skull. The Crown is based on Cypress Hill Stoned Raiders album cover. It stands for the great time I had with my best friend in our early 20s. Oh, didn't we all have good times with our best friends in our early 20s?
not me.
Sorry. All right.
So this is cool. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed about the lighting in the photo.
Yeah, it's
Just-
just too dark, and
Losing the bottom.
I understand what they're thinking, but it muted some of it, and some light wouldn't have hurt this thing. I don't know why they even needed to use a polarizer and take this in a dark room. It would have looked better outside. Because what are you trying to do? Make the blacks look black? Who fucking cares if they're black? Like, it's not really about that. It's about the cool octopus.
And I feel like, I mean, when you use a polarized lens, then we're starting to question, is the black black? And if this is in there good, take it outside.
Yeah. Also, it's like, even if it's not the blackest black ever, this isn't a blackout tattoo or something. What the fuck do we care?
You want high contrast.
Sure, but I think it looks like it is already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't really need help. I don't assume that anyone that could do this tattoo can't get a black.
I mean, and this is like right down your alley, Remy. Like, I see tentacles and beastie and...
I mean, it's a little more aquatic than it is, like, monster, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I do enjoy the nautical kind of stuff, too. It's more of an ocean vibe than it is, like, cosmic horror, but... Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's definitely a cool and easy to connect to other things for sure. All right, so and this is his skull that he was talking about, right?
You can see how he's added to it.
Yeah, like the tentacles coming through.
It's easy. It's easy enough for me to imagine making a full sleeve of this stuff. You just keep going with the aquatic kind of sea monster stuff, and away you go. I think that some color would help here, though, and I know they're not going that way, but I think black and gray with color is cooler than just straight black and gray.
And do you think this is done by the same artist?
Yeah, I would imagine so. It has the same feel, so I can't imagine that anyone else matched his style as well as this guy. I think instead of having the black background in between the tentacles and the skull and stuff, it would have been cool to have like a blue, like just to kind of like separate everything. But so many people aren't open to color, so it's a shame. What could have been, as far as I'm concerned. But I would have liked to see like almost like a blue ground.
Ooh, or like a navy black.
Yeah, something with some blue elements, or like even some bubbles in there and stuff, but mostly just solid blue in between the tentacles and stuff. I think would have really popped it off. It's a shame you don't see more experimental stuff like that.
Well, the thing is, though, is if he takes your advice to heart, again, you are proof that it is possible. If he wanted to, he could totally put some blue.
Oh, of course.
Blue over the black might get like a really nice navy in there too.
I don't think he will. I usually these things will just age well. That's the reason why people like black and gray. They're not really looking to get into 600 sessions on the same sleeve.
And risk having your blue turn into a weird color of green over time.
Fair.